So what are the constitutional issues with this?
Well, it's a church-state integration issue that, the Constitution and the various court cases that have come after that make it pretty clear that the government that we have here cannot be biased about what church organizations they help out. Here they're helping out a specific religion by giving them a sweetheart deal on this theater versus other religions. Now, they said they went out and asked other people to come in and offer to run the theater, but really this was just a ploy to make it look like they're doing the right thing. They didn't look for any management organizations to actually manage the theater the way it should be. And we think this is the big defect. Instead of going for the secular approach, they went only for the churches, like which churches want it. And instead of saying, well, how can we manage this in a way for everybody?
The violations of the Brown Act that you referred to, which specifically are these violations?
Well, they started in closed session to negotiate with the Rock Church in February. They did not include that in the written description today. We said this should not be done in closed session. You should talk about this in open session. They said it was fine, so there's a dispute there about the Brown Act because they went into closed session.
So they treated this as if it was personnel or legal issue, which is the only time that you can go into closed session.
Yeah, so this is why we say that it's a Brown Act violation. I asked for all the correspondence between the Rock Church and the city. I still haven't gotten a full response from that. They say they're working on it and they haven't finished that. So they're dragging their feet. They don't want to give it to me. They said some of it was top secret and they couldn't let me know what it was.
And they were also counting on state development funds.
This is what I believe they did with this theater. They closed it in 2010 with the hope that they could blight it and therefore get the millions of dollars in redevelopment funds from the state to fix up their blighted area. And since those were revoked, they both could not do the demolishing project, they couldn't do the fix-up project, and so then they were sitting there dead in the water because they couldn't get those funds. However, we investigated, we looked into the theater exactly what was required. We found out that for not that much money, this theater could be fixed up. You could probably go in there with a vacuum cleaner today and clean it up a little bit and have an event tonight. I mean, it's not that bad. The rigging was just replaced. I asked a professional rigger, is the rigging okay? He said this is no worse than what they use at the Old Globe. This eliminated the myth that they had to build a fly space above the theater that they've been talking about, how bad that was. And it wasn't bad. So again and again, when we investigated it, we found out that what they were telling us really wasn't what was going on.
And legally, how far are you expected to go?
Well, I'm getting some consultation with some attorneys. I'm talking to Mike Aguirre. He's familiar with city law, and so I'm asking him about a number of things such as the duration of the contract. They want a multi-year contract. I think maybe it could be stopped on some of these easier bases rather than going into the constitutional issues. But the constitutional issue, I think, is more egregious than what the Supreme Court has said is okay. And so I think that it should, if they continue to do this, this could be a case that marches all the way up to the Supreme Court. Now, hopefully I can find support and funds and so forth from people that are interested in the church and state separation. I know there's a lot of, say, Jewish groups, for example, that would feel uncomfortable maybe going into a theater with they used to do this, they used to have the voting booths on the altar in some precincts, and it'd be kind of uncomfortable voting, on the altar for some people. So it is an issue that I believe we understand clearly in this country about church and state separation. I think it's what has really hurt our world when we haven't respected that, such as in the Middle East where they have the church and state combined. We get nothing but wars over there, and we've got to honor that tradition of our Constitution.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want Bonnie?